a current driver still driving buses in Northern Ireland decided that he would refer to gay people in Northern Ireland as bumbusters. When he was challenged, he stood by what he said by repeating the comments again. We've asked an actor to read a letter that was sent in to the Nolan Show about this incident.
On Saturday the 1st of August, we had our 25th Pride Parade through Belfast city centre, and with thousands taking part, it was bound to cause some traffic disruption. One Metro driver called Metro Control on the bus radio and told the inspector that he couldn't get his bus along Donegal Place. He was asked why, and his response was that there were too many bumbusters on the road. Control asked him to repeat his message, and he said again there were too many bumbusters on the road. The control inspector asked for his staff number to identify himself. I heard he got a slap on the wrist for it, but personally, I think he should be dealt with more severely as he repeated the message a second time rather than saying nothing. So he knew what he was saying, and he also defended his comments to other bus drivers. His comment went across the Metro radio network to every bus driver and inspector, and it's also heard by passengers on buses who were within earshot of the radios.
So, if you just listen to what that whistleblower said there, voiced by one of our production team actually, not only did he say it, he repeated it, and then he defended what he was doing to other drivers. He continued to advise other drivers that that was appropriate behaviour. Now, TransLink have contacted us. They've confirmed that this happened. They've said this in a statement. And they've said that an investigation was carried out and appropriate action was taken in line with their disciplinary policy. So there is no apology from TransLink whatsoever. There is no indication that this driver was suspended. There is no indication that this driver has apologised. There is no indication from TransLink that they've had an assurance that this driver will not do it again. None. I'll read the full statement from TransLink. We're aware of the incident on Saturday, 1st of August, where a Metro driver used offensive language over TransLink's open radio network. A full investigation was carried out. Appropriate action has been taken in line with our disciplinary policy. Now, given that the whistleblower has said that he felt this driver was given a slap on the wrist, it is absolutely in the public interest for us to ask TransLink what was appropriate action. Was it a slap on the wrist? Is it all right for that driver to say it again? Has that driver apologised? Anything like it is missing within that response from TransLink. John O'Doherty from the Rainbow Project is with us today. Good morning to you, John.
Morning, Stephen.
What's your reaction to this?
Well, I think it's hugely disappointing to hear the reports of what was said on Saturday, especially on Belfast Pride Day, such a positive day for our city where tens of thousands of people come out in the streets to celebrate an amazing community, an amazing culture, and we've seen such positivity and such benefit to the people of this city as well, not least of all financially. I think it's an indication of the everyday homophobia that still exists within our society and that people have to put up with, and which in many ways is tolerated. Now, it shouldn't be tolerated in the workplace, especially in relation to public employers. But the reality is that in too many places, in too many parts of our society, it is still acceptable. And we still have this sexualization of LGBT people where the derogatory comments are made are in relation to the sex that people believe that members of our community choose to have. So I think it's a clear indication of how much we still have to do, unfortunately, on a day where we've seen how far we have actually come. 25 years of Belfast Pride, from what I'm hearing, 30 to 40,000 people out celebrating that day, in comparison to 25 years ago when there was less than 100 people who marched in the first Belfast Pride Parade. But then to have this story coming out in relation to that day, I think just puts a dampener and just as a constant reminder to how much we still have to achieve within our society.
Would there be the same statement from, and this is an open question, if a Belfast bus driver had used the N-word about black people, would there be the same statement from TransLink? Yeah, we took appropriate action.
I don't believe so. I think there would have been huge attempts to apologise and to indicate what action that they took, that this wasn't in line with TransLink policy. I think there'd be training plans put in place, and I think there would be a lot of actions taken by TransLink I think they need to review their decision on this, not necessarily in relation.
Well, we don't know what
to
they've
the
done.
action taken.
We don't know what
Well,
they've
exactly.
done.
And not necessarily in relation to the action taken with the bus driver, but in how they're responding to this and what they're telling their employees and what they're telling those people who use their services.
Because, of course, the point of this story is that the bus driver transmitted this not once but twice across the whole open radio network of the TransLink bus system. So all the drivers listening to that system would have heard it not once. Then when he was challenged about it, would have heard him stand by his comments, saying it again. So I'm guessing that quite a few drivers in TransLink would be thinking to themselves, well, what happened to that guy? Was that deemed to be a minor indiscretion? Was that deemed to be serious? They would be listening to this programme this morning, reading this statement from TransLink. Yeah, appropriate action was taken, and that's it. Here's David in Belfast. Morning to you, David.
Good morning, Stephen. Absolutely ridiculous from TransLink, and the lack of dealing with this is unbelievable. As a gay man myself, I think that kind of behaviour from anyone is totally disgusting. And you took the words out of my mouth, of course, because if someone said that about a black person, and rightly so, they'd be going down the road. Why should gay people have to put up with this kind of behaviour? And TransLink should be ashamed of themselves, and they should be dealing with this by sacking him immediately.
Well, again, in defence of TransLink, we don't know what they have done. Secondly, it's a high-pressure job as a bus driver.
We all live in a world where it's high pressure of one kind or another, but we don't go about making remarks like that about gay people, about black people, or about anybody else. We all are under pressure in this world today, but you do not make those kind of remarks, and TransLink is failing to attack other people in society. Just take it as a bus driver there who is maybe gay. And here's that kind of language coming over the airwaves. It's absolutely disgraceful. And TransLink.
Well, what about the passengers?
Well, of course, that's but there could be gay people on the bus as well. And at the end of the day, that kind of behaviour is totally unacceptable. And TransLink, they haven't. They should be immediately.
Tell you what, David, stay there because William has called us to defend the bus driver. Go ahead, William.
Hello there. I don't see why either TransLink or this driver should have to apologise for that. This country needs to get a grip. But every time now anybody's upset or annoyed by anything that's said, there's a whole hullabaloo. I mean, I am 5'4", and people have often called me a short so-and-so. And I have to just take that in the chin. I don't go crying about it. I tell you, this nation really wants to get a grip.
David?
Well, that's absolutely ridiculous. At the end of the day,
I want you to speak to William, David. Say good morning to him.
Good morning. At the end of the day, we're in a society where there's all kinds of people here. And if that was to say it was a black man from the black community and that kind of language, as a white man, if I was sitting on a bus and a black man got on and a driver said something to the black man, I would be lodging a complaint against the driver. And TransLink has a duty.
You want to wage up, fella. You want to get a grip in your life.
Duty of responsibility to deal with this driver and deal with it. This is the only way this kind of behaviour is going to be trumped out once and for all by sacking him, and he deserves all he's getting.
You really want to get a life, fella.
Well, let me just be honest with you. Do you expect a driver, if you went into Ardoyne or if you went into the Shankill, do you expect a driver to make remarks which is hateful because of the person's religion? Why should gay people have to put up with this? Enough is enough, and that driver needs to be sacked.
Take yourself off.
Well,
he wants to be sacked for one comment.
It doesn't.
So somebody calls me a short, what's it? Does that mean that I should lodge a complaint about him?
What he is doing is offensive to a minority of group.
It's offensive to me too.
Well, it's offensive to you. What are you arguing about for? At the end of the day,
to me, the way you people get on.
A driver is there to serve all the community. And at the end of the day, he's made a remark which is offensive. And if I had been on that bus, I'd have been taking legal action against him.
If I'd have been on that bus, I'd have had a good laugh and clapped him on the back.
Well, you can have a good laugh. It shows you where you come from.
Aye, doesn't it just? It shows me where you come from.
I want respect for all.
Aye, right. You've no respect for anybody else but yourselves.
What do you mean by that?
I've just said.
What do you mean by that? Come on, be a bit more clear. What do you mean by that?
You know, right? What I'm saying.
Are you homophobic? Are you a person who hates gay people? Because that's what it looks like to me. But you sound your voice.
Well, hold on a minute. Let's not put words in his mouth. Let's not suggest anything that he is that he clearly isn't. William, how do you want to respond to that?
I'll say no more because I could say a lot.
Okay, but do you want to respond? I need to give you an opportunity, and obviously I'm saying that you absolutely do not feel like that. Do you want to elaborate on it?
I'm not elaborating on anymore.
That's okay. William, thank you. Billy, we're actually going back to TransLink to ask them if they want to come on to this programme rather than a statement. So it's now, there's a very, very significant audience listening to this programme this morning, and I'm guessing they're wondering more questions about how TransLink have actually handled this story. I can tell you now that we're also being contacted by TransLink bus drivers. I'm a bus driver, says this comment. This driver has given the rest of us a bad name. I treat everyone equally. 08459 555 678. If you are just joining us this morning, and again, I repeat that there will be language that you may find offensive during this item. It's the school holidays. Don't be having the kids listening over the next 5 or 10 minutes. Now, the story we will set out like this. A TransLink bus driver who it appears is still driving buses, has continued to drive buses after he went on to the radio network during Gay Pride, and he told a bus inspector that he viewed gay people as, quote, bumbusters. When he was challenged about it, he repeated the comment. TransLink haven't told us what action they've taken. They've said they've taken action in line with their disciplinary policy. Obviously, the questions that TransLink need to answer: A, is this bus driver being retrained? B, has this bus driver apologised? C, has this bus driver given any type of indication that he will not do it again? Billy in Belfast. Morning, Billy.
Good morning.
Go ahead.
Well, I'm somewhat bemused by the fact that where has freedom of speech gone? Is this man going to be persecuted out of his work because he has an opinion that doesn't fall into the pattern that some people choose? I'm absolutely amazed. Surely people are entitled to express things. Fair enough, maybe it wasn't the cleverest way to say it, but nonetheless, it's an opinion he has, and surely to heavens, he's entitled to his opinion.
He's entitled to that opinion in his place of work towards gay people, is he?
He's entitled to opinion 24 hours a day.
In his place of work?
Anywhere.
Right. John O'Doherty, do you want to deal with this?
Absolutely. People are entitled to their opinion, but there's a complete difference between having an opinion and bringing that opinion into the workplace. Those comments would have been hugely offensive to LGBT members of staff, and even non.
Would they be hugely offensive, John?
I think they would be.
Am I hugely offensive?
To hear that within your workplace, to have to listen to that.
Am I offensive? I haven't said anything against anybody. I'm only asking, where's freedom of speech gone?
A place other than your home where you spend the majority of your time.
We got to be muzzled outside like dogs.
That type of language.
Catch yourself on, man.
TransLink is also a public employer and is also a public service provider as well. So yes, people have the right to those opinions. It doesn't give you the right to go and express your opinion anywhere you want in any way you want.
So
even you're an employee of the BBC.
We're reverting back.
Hold on, one at a time. One at a time.
Back to the 30s when Hitler and the Nazis muzzled everybody. Get a grip, fella.
It's just it's just a ridiculous comment.
It's not a ridiculous comment. I mean, if people aren't allowed to express their opinions,
Hold on, John. Hold on, John.
You're not
Hold
going
on.
to be a dictator.
Stephen, could I come in here? David here.
Go ahead, David.
At the end of the day, John is absolutely correct in what he's saying. TransLink is a public service. All kinds of people use that service. That driver, what he said, is absolutely a disgrace. And there's only one alternative to this. Down the road, he should be sacked. It's as simple as that. People in this country have...
Well, you don't want to be getting people sacked now. That man could have a family. That could be the source of that man's living. You don't want to be... Like, what if, although TransLink haven't told us, what if that guy is deeply sorry? What if that guy is actually repentant?
If a gay person worked in a factory...
What if he could be retrained? What if he would never do it again?
Well...
You see, this is everything that's left out of the TransLink response.
Well, the problem...
This is my point.
TransLink needs to have a service for everyone. And that driver made it quite clear by his remarks over the airwaves at the end of the day is offensive to a lot of gay people in this country. And at the end of the day,
Mr. Nolan,
in my view,
1 second, Billy.
No sympathy whatsoever for him. He should have knew before he opened his mouth, and he done the wrong thing.
Go on, Billy. Okay, go on, Billy.
Mr. Nolan, a couple of things. Firstly, that man was responding to a question from his supervisor. What was delaying him on the road? And he said there were people on the road. And fair enough, he described it in a particular way, which, is not entirely, correct. But nonetheless, he was answering and responding to a question. It wasn't for the public airways. Another thing is, reference has been made to gay. Can you tell me what this word gay means?
Well, could I just say something to you? If that was me and I was driving that bus, and there was a parade going through Belfast, and my inspector says what was delaying me, I would say there's a parade going through Belfast at the moment and being delayed. I wouldn't make any remarks which would be offensive to people in this society.
Maybe the man's choice of language
about a black person.
Well, can I ask the next question?
Persecuted.
So can I ask?
Because he expressed.
Can I ask the next question of all of you this morning?
Hold on a moment.
Hold on, Billy. Billy, hold on a minute. Hold on a minute.
Can you explain to me this word gay? I mean, I'm a gay person. I've been happy all my life. But can you express to me how this word has been twisted and warped into another meaning?
Okay.
Can you explain that to me?
No, I can't.
Nobody can.
I have no will to do so, no desire to do so this morning.
I tell you what I understand it to have come from.
No, I don't want you. I don't want you to just keep on talking over me. I don't want you to do it, mate.
Well, you're doing
all
not
right?
too bad.
I don't want you to do it. So we're done with you if you won't let me chair the programme. But thank you for calling us. Now, here's another question this morning. We know what this bus driver said about gay people across the radio network. Here's a question we haven't addressed yet. How would this bus driver treat gay passengers? Someone who's maybe openly gay, has a gay supporting T-shirt on, is coming from gay festival, holding hands with his boyfriend, her boyfriend, whatever. How would that bus driver be treating a passenger who was getting on the bus to hand money over to him? Would he say it to their face? Would he express his dislike for gay people, which these comments would suggest he has? Would he do that to an actual passenger? Have TransLink looked into that? Has this guy been retrained before he's gone onto a bus? Is there any need for that? All of those questions left open this morning. Connie and Carrie Duff. Morning, Connie.
Good morning, Stephen.
Go ahead, Connie.
Stephen, I just wanted to say, I just think it is absolutely ridiculous that our people are calling for that man to be sacked. The man was probably frustrated and made a remark, which he probably, well, I don't know where he meant it or not. I mean, I certainly have nothing against gays. I have gay friends. I have a relative who is gay.
He was asked to clarify, Connie, and he repeated it again.
Well, it doesn't. I still think it. I don't think the fella should be sacked for some. What is this country coming to when people cannot say what they think? I'll tell you. I'm going to say something. If those people that are ringing up would go round up those hospitals and into that hospice and see people that are lying, dying and ill, they wouldn't be worried about having some man making maybe a silly comment, or even if he did mean it. Are you not allowed to say? I mean, are you not allowed in this country now to say what you think? Is it, what, it's sure, I don't know, it's so frustrating.
Have a listen to Joseph in Belfast. You've worked in TransLink
I worked
a long time ago, Joseph.
Yes, 35 years ago. I was over 20 years there, and my depot that I worked in, which I'll not say, there was two men who were gay. And I think about 30 years ago, what was gay people under the pressure? I never heard that language towards those two men. In fact, they were two of the nicest gentlemen you could meet. Yeah. I never heard language like it, and I'm quite in shock. I think the driver's going to have to be taken and retrained. You just, after all, as you have said, members of the public pay their fare. You've no right. They could have been sitting on the bus. Anybody could have heard that. I never heard that in the whole time I worked for TransLink. In fact, if you had said something like that, you'd have been disciplined very immediately. I am in shock. I just can't take it in a driver to refer to people like that. And as I say, 35 years ago,
the allegation from the whistleblower was that he was not disciplined seriously in any way. The whistleblower described it as a slap on the wrist. That's why the whistleblower came to the Nolan show. So far, TransLink are not elaborating on what discipline the driver was given, which leaves it therefore open that the whistleblower's allegation is correct, that TransLink didn't really take it seriously enough to address it with a serious disciplinary matter. Now, until we hear from TransLink, we don't know.
Well, TransLink, when I was there, they had what they called customer care courses, where every driver had to go and do this course, how to handle customers and how to speak to people. And they not only done it once, they'd done it twice in 10 years. Now, what I'm saying is that was customer care. It's the people not outside the bus, customers in their own way. I'm sure they use buses, but I never heard that. I heard other language, but I never heard any language like that. And I would say there'd be a lot of bus drivers disgusted with that driver, disgusted with him. Of course, free speech, you can say anything, but I didn't think you were allowed to say it over the airways. That's all I can say about it. I would say he should be retrained on how to handle customers. Let me just
check here. Stay there. Let me just check if TransLink have come back to us yet. No, they haven't.
Well, that says a lot for TransLink,
well, no, we only contacted them again 20-odd minutes ago. We've asked them to put someone up onto the programme to speak to us.
Yeah. Well,
because there's a matter here of public reassurance, is there not? There's a matter here for the public transport network to actually reassure people publicly as to how seriously or how seriously not they take a bus driver broadcasting that across the whole TransLink radio network.
What about if there was a mother or a father or a brother sitting in that bus who had a relation who was gay? I have heard people ringing your programme up, mothers, and they're saying it's terrible the way people treat them, but he's my son and I love him. And if it was my son or daughter, I would love them too.
Well, let me give you the most extreme. And look, I know that people are going to have a pop at me for saying this, but I'll say it anyway. And if you want to have a pop at me, pick up the phone. What about the most extreme? Unlikely, but the most extreme of circumstances. What if there was a kid sitting on that bus that was gay and possibly was in any way unsure of him or herself in terms of their self-esteem, in terms of their desire to continue to live in this country, and they're hearing that being broadcast while sitting on a bus?
Well, my wife's only after saying before I come on air, what if there was children who didn't know what their sexuality was? What way would they think? She's only after saying it to me before you rang me. She's on the same thought. I think it's terrible.
Connie, do you want to reply to this?
Well, Stephen, my only reply is I think people now are too easily offended. I mean, to tell you the truth, I am so frustrated because I think people are just too easily offended now. As I say, I have gay friends. I have a relative who's gay, and he's a lovely, lovely person. And I mean, I have absolutely nothing against him, but I think asking people that are asking for this bus driver to be sacked, that guy could have 2 or 3 children.
I never asked for that.
That's his livelihood. And I
never asked for that.
Well, there was people asking for it this morning for him to be sacked.
He should be taken and retrained.
Well, exactly, or if he wants to be...
I never asked for that. It's a very hard job.
Yes, I think it is, and I think the guy probably was frustrated. It may be what he thought, but he said it, and as I say, he may be frustrated with the traffic and all. But for those people that are ringing up, and that man from the Gay Society ringing up for him to be sacked, I think it is not right. I don't think the fella should be sacked.
I don't think he asked for that. But
he
should be definitely retrained.
No, he asked for the fella. He said the fella should be sacked immediately. I was listening to it. He said the fella should be sacked.
One of the key questions, I think one of the key questions is, did the guy apologise?
Pardon?
I think one of the key questions is, did the guy hold his hands up and apologise? Or did the guy sit there and say, I stand by what I said?
Well, maybe.
I think that's a key question, again, that TransLink have not addressed.
Yes, well, they'll have to sort that out with him. But I still say, and if that gay person was on, I would say the fella should not be sacked. I think it's ridiculous that he should be sacked for making that comment. And I say that fella maybe has 3, 4 children. And they're going to sack him for something that he said maybe in the spur of the moment, or, as I say, this world now, people are too easily offended by anything.
John in Dundonald. Morning, John.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Go on, John.
That lady said, I've got friends and family who are in the gay community, and this driver has said something off the cuff, which really, he's not told any lies, because he's avidly described some of their sexual activities. So he's not told any lies. And for people to come on here and they really want him hung, shot and drawn and quartered for what he said. The guy had said a comment on a busy day. He's frustrated getting through the traffic. And for people to come on here for a witch hunt, these gay pride people aren't very gay. They're very down on everybody else that's not a member of their gay community.
Really? Where do you get that from?
Well, they're so easily offended. If we all took that attitude, Stephen, nobody would be talking to anybody. You'd be frightened to speak to anybody about anything in case they went and complained about you.
Would it have been all right for this bus driver to use the N-word towards black people?
I don't suppose it would have been, but it depends on what context he used it in. Right. He was stuck in a traffic jam. He was probably frustrated. And
let's say that bus driver had said there are too many N's blocking the road.
Right.
Would that have been acceptable? Would TransLink have reacted in the same way?
Well,
just imagine if a bus driver in TransLink broadcast across the whole radio network and repeated it, that there are too many N's blocking the road, and said that towards an equal rights mark for black people. Would TransLink react in the same manner?
Well, do we know how TransLink reacted? We don't. That's what you're telling us this morning. So you need to make your mind up whether they've reacted or not. You're telling us they haven't reacted because you don't know.
No, I'm not. I've read the TransLink statement,
right.
Which is we are aware. I'll read the statement in full. We're aware of an incident on Saturday, 1st of August, where a Metro driver used offensive language over TransLink's open radio network. A full investigation was carried out. Appropriate action has been taken in line with our disciplinary policy. So we do not know if the driver has apologised. We do not know if the driver continues to drive buses. We do not know if the driver has refused to give TransLink any type of undertaking that he won't do it again. We do not know if, as the allegation suggested, the driver was given a slap on the wrist. We do not know the extent of the disciplinary action. And we do not know now if TransLink are prepared to come on the radio, as we've asked them to do, and tell us whether the driver's going to be retrained or not.
So in that context, Stephen, if you say something on the airwaves that maybe you don't mean, or maybe you've said it in a way that people take offence at it, and the BBC discipline you, you want the whole world to know what happened to you, that is between the employer and the employee, not between the whole the airwaves. It's nothing to do with that. No, what's going to happen next, Stephen? There's going to be signing TransLink buses that these seats are reserved for gay people. If you see a person gay, please get up and give them their seat. It's got absolutely nothing to do with us, what happened between that guy and his employer. It's between them, and they don't need to divulge it.
OK, John, thank you very much indeed. Morning to you.